Peace, peace, peace. It's the time to this one. And I guess this is going to be more of like a class today. We just going to be kind of going over a few things. You know, try not to get too hyper today. Just going into a few things. We're going to definitely be dealing with what the title says, the use of the term Negro and Black. But I also want to deal with just some of the indentured servants of Virginia as well. I touched on this video in some of my earlier videos, but I just want to just give a some additional feedback to it because I don't think that a lot of people truly understand it for what it's worth. Yeah. So we got a lot to really cover today. So let's get with it. All right. So it's additional. This is some bonus information right here. Right. Just some bonus information. We're gonna go over, and I've showed people this in number of my videos. But this is basically what Giovanni Di Verrazzano said. Um, this is what he said. He said these people go all together naked except for their private parts. They say they with certain skins of beasts, like unto martins, which they fasten onto a narrow griddle made of grass. A narrow griddle made of grass. Okay, it's a very artful work. It's a hang about with those tails of diverse other beasts. It say which round about their bodies, hanging, dangling down their knees. Some of them wear garlands of birds' feathers, and the people are of a color rustic. Color rustic. All right, let's go. Let's see what the color rustic is. This is a color rustic. You see this? I mean, they have a bunch of different color rustics, but this shit right here fits the bill for what most Black Americans come in the different colors. You understand what I'm saying? So he said of a color rustic. This would be a Wesley Snipes color right here, okay? Or you want to say this could be a Wesley Snipes color, but these are all color of rustics right here, okay? So we know the people who identify that, okay? So I just want to put it says, and not much unlike Saracens. Okay, we know what Saracens look like. Saracens are Negroes, okay? All right. So I mean, I just want to really pretty much go on that. You can pretty much read the rest of it. I just want to touch on that just for the sake of the video, being as though that my premise is to basically paint the notion that it was Negroes here already. All right. So all right, so I want to touch on this right here first. We're going to go on this first. All right, so in Indian enslavement in Virginia, all right, so I'm going to read through a little bit of this, and I'm going to get to the main topic of the video, all right? Shout out to everybody in the chat room. All right, so Indian enslavement in Virginia. Indians were enslaved in Virginia by settlers and traders from shortly after the founding of Jamestown. Remember, when were the founders of Jamestown? Around 1600s through 1622. It said until the end of the century. Until the end of the 18th century, peaking late in the 17th century, and providing a workforce for English plantations and households. By the time the Atlantic slave trade was at peak, flooding Virginia with cheaper African labor. Now remember, check this out, right? They telling you cheaper African labor. These was not cheaper. These people, and don't let the terms throw you off neither. Okay, don't let the terms throw you off, all right? Because even though that they using the term African, because they basically need to cover up the fact that it was Negroes here. They can't call them nothing else but Africans to throw you off. Now we know that they was already taking people from here to the Caribbeans, the West Indies, and bringing them back. Most people believe that they took the Africans first to West Indies and then brought them here. They didn't bring them straight from here, but I got some literature that's we're going to pretty much touch on that as well. So don't fall for the word African because you see the word African, all right? They was not using that word in the 1800s or in the 1700s, all right? And say with African labor. African slavery took nearly a century to develop. However, and in the meantime, those white Virginians who required men and women to work as servants in the tobacco fields mostly relied on indentured service and enslaved Indians. Europeans sold guns for slaves. Europeans sold guns for slaves. Who did they sell guns to? The indigenous aborigines, the motherfuckers who was basically crossing us and selling us out for trinkets. Their trinkets was fire sticks. It say in an existing indigenous trading market and encouraging allied tribes to provide the slaves by targeting Indian groups and proprietary, it say, of England settlements similar to the African participation. All right. Now they telling you right here. All right. It says in the capture of the slaves in Africa, it say while there are examples of continual enslavement of Indians through the early settlement period, mass enslavement typical conceded to upheave of war that led to Indian prisoners who could be sold as slaves. Virginia laws were neither clear nor effective. Now look, it's saying it was neither clear nor effective. It say with respect to the enslavement of Indians, at times banning the practice and at other times encouraging it. It says some scholars argue that the Indian enslavement had declined by the 1800s because Indians were prone to illness or escape. But others maintain that it was only when Indians wrecked by war and enslavement could not provide sufficient quantities of cheap labor, the English colonists turned primarily towards chattel African slavery. American Indians were more clearly deemed free by the Virginia laws early in the 1800s, and Indians were unable to gain their freedom often because assimilated within the predominantly African slave communities. All right, now and we got some more. So early forms of enslavement during the settlements. Slavery generally absent any modern concept of race. How had long been common practice around the world and usually involved in enslavement of war captures. Enslavement of war captures, okay? It say for centuries before the European settlement, American Indian tribes had enslaved other Indians as a cultural practice, but not as a means of recruiting a dominant labor source. The Spanish, in turn, enslaved Indians to work on North American sugar plantations, okay? It say using the repartimento or the commento system. This is something dealing with eating right here. Commende is something dealing with food right here. It's a system to appropriation Indians and land. It's a and to govern their use, respectively, only when mistreatment decimated whole Indian plantations did the Spanish government in 1542 outlaw Indian slavery. At least the name, the practice continue indeed. All right, now it's telling you, we already touched on that, but we want to keep it going. It say neither the Spanish nor the English immediately sought to enslave the Indians they encountered. The Indian slavery did not become official Spanish policy until 1503, or 11 years after first contact. It is clear that the English wanted to mimic, the Spanish effort of creating indigenous tributaries, it say, for labor force. Now remember that. Okay, because people automatically assume that soon as the English came here, the first thing they did was bring Africans with them. Okay, let's read that again. It is clear that the English wanted to mimic. Now, how did the English wanted to mimic this? Because remember, the English took most of the Spanish colonies from them. Most of the West Indies colonies that the Spanish occupied, such as Jamaica and all these other countries, or whatever, Barbados or some of these other countries, the English took from them. Okay, the Spanish had Jamaica first. The English took that from them. That's how they started warring with the Maroons, and they sent the Maroons to Nova Scotia, and all that other stuff started happening, okay? Now check this out, right? Once again, it says the English wanted to mimic the Spanish effort to creating indigenous tribal rules, it say, for the labor force. But it took them even longer. The tributaries, it say, relationship involved the exchange of Indian goods and labor for colonial protection against enemy tribes. Upon their arrival in 1607, the English initially sought to establish this kind of tributary, it's a trading relationship with the Algonquin-speaking Indians. This is basically Powhatan. It's a paramount chieftain. It's a of the 28th and the 22 small chieftains and tribes stretched from James to the Potomac River. The Indians had food the English needed, and the English provided tools, weapons, fabric, and copper. It's a made items the Indians considered to be spiritual valuables. Valuables. It's a Indian labored for the English as indentured servants without clearly defining rights or limits of the servants. Conflict soon weakened such relationship. Okay, now remember that Indian labor for the English as indentured servants. What I've been telling people all along. See, let me tell you something, right? You got to kind of sift through these articles, because a lot of these articles is telling you what you need to know, but you have to sift through it, because as soon as they start throwing that word African in it, it will throw you off, okay? But you have to sift through them and find the information that we need to basically prove our point, what we're trying to get at. Okay, now check this shit out one more time. Indian labored for the English. Okay, now what have I been telling people all along? I've been telling people is under the notion that as soon as the English came here, they brought with them African. They under the notion that as soon as the Spanish came here, they brought African. They under the notion that as soon as the Portuguese came to Brazil, they brought Africans to Brazil. No, they took black Aborigines from Brazil to colonies in West Africa. This is the reason why you see a lot of the West African cultures have similar cultures to the people in Cuba and Brazil, because they are basically, them are remnants of their original culture that they was when they was here. It's not in reverse, it's the opposite. Because if the slave trade went in the opposite fashion, one would expect. That's the reason why a lot of them still got a lot of these cultures. But you know, like I said, man, a lot of these Pan-Africans, man, they have poor research studies, man. They have poor, like the brother Garfield and the rest of these clowns, they are poor researchers. They research shit that already is provided for them. They don't know how to go deep within and find information and basically retain that information, you know, filter the information and find other sources that go with the information. Now, it's clear by now that most of the articles, we went to New York, we went to Charlestown, we've been to Virginia a couple times, we've been in the Carolinas, we've been to the West Indies, we've been to Massachusetts, and all of these so-called states had fucking Indian slaves. What happened to these Indians 100 years from then? You think they still was allowed to practice their culture? No, they was wearing clothes and they was walking around speaking English and adapting English tradition. Just like right now, you send your kids off to school, you want your kids to basically learn how to, you know, adapt to the European culture. You know, you correct them, you teach them the proper, the king, queen English, and you think that you doing a grand job, and you think that's the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. So like I said, man, this shit is just, it's like, yo, it's so clear to me at this point in time. I'm sorry, it's clear to me. All right. So look, So one more time, Indian laborers for the English as indentured servants without clearly defined rights or the length of service. The length of service is how long are you going to be working? Okay? Conflict soon weakened their such relationships. Okay? Now check this shit out. I'm gonna show you some things to go with this too. Check this out. An early mention of Indian slaves appear in the contents of the first Anglo and Powhatan War. Source that, y'all. They show you early Indian slaves appear in the contents of the first Anglo and Powhatan Wars. Okay. Now, you know what I should have pulled up with this? That I should have touched on. I should have pulled up the Indian Acts, man. Because the Indian Acts is going to pretty much make a lot of this shit clear. Because a lot of these acts was created. Let me see something real quick. Bear with me real quick. Bear with me. So we can find all of them. You'll see that they started soon after the war. Check this out. Let me see something. Indian Acts. Check this out. Nah, this more than this. It's way more than this shit. It's starting at 16. It's starting nah, it's way more than that. Let me see something. Nah, it's, you know what? Hold up, slave codes. Yeah, no, that's not it. Because that's part of it, but it's not the entire. Let me see this right here. The geographical slavery. All right. This is a good one though, right here. Let me see something. Let me see how far I go in. Yeah, see, this go all the way up. Right here. Let's go into the 1600s. See, yeah, it start at 1660. 16. But there's more. There's way more than this. I've seen way more than this right here. You know what? I'm gonna keep this up for a purpose. All right, let's get back. I'm gonna keep that up. We might go over that. All right, so boom. So it say the first. It say an early mention of an Indian slave appears in the content of First Anglo and Powhatan War. So remember that. Remember that for you guys who doing research. The First Anglo and Powhatan War. Remember 16. Oh, this is when you get the Pocahontas and the Captain John Smith and all this other stuff that they talk about. All right. So it say in his Treaty Relacyon, George Percy recounts an English march on the Indian town, guided by Indian named Kempis. It say who was led in a handlock. A handlock must have been handcuffs, and is described as a slave working under the threat of beating and beheading. The war, meanwhile, resulted in English expansion outside the Jamestown. They say which helped create another use of forced labor with the subsequent development of the tobacco as a cash crop. Came the need for abundance of cheap labor supplies to work the field. It say then on March 22nd, 1622, Indians under the leadership of a Petchenu, which is Powhatan or Tulkan what's the name, brother, it say attacked the settlement along the James River, killing nearly 1/3 of the English population and initiating the Second Anglo-Powhatan War from 1622 to 1632. It say with the friendly tributaries, it say approach decaying, a new English policy towards the Indians was born. On this violence and found expression in the official Virginia Company of London reports of the 1622 attack, a declaration of the state of the colonies and affairs in Virginia. Now that'd be something hella far to read, but I don't want to click on that because that's going to take me through some other shit. All right. But this right here, a declaration of the states and colonies and affairs in Virginia. Now this right here probably would take us somewhere, man. I mean, I have a lot to read, y'all, man. Let me just see something real quick, man. I want to click on this. I'm curious, man. I'm curious, man. You know how this shit go down. Look at this shit right here. Let me just breeze through this. Yeah, it's a lot right here. Yeah, this would be something good to just really do some secondary research on right here. Let's go back. Let's go back. Because I don't want to get lost. Let's go back. All right, bet. So describing Virginia Indians as a rude and barbarous and naked people who worship the devil. Listen to this, y'all. Describing Virginia Indians as a rude and barbarous and naked people who worship the devil. The report, Arthur argued that the Indians who before were used as friends may now most justly be compelled to servitude and drudgery. Ha! Check this shit out, y'all. Here we go. Okay? Now, like I said, yo, I love to read this, man, because this right here, most people don't understand. Most people think that Africans was brought here, but remember, they was already shipping with the colonies that they set up in the West Indies. They were sending the more hostile Indians there first, then bringing them back because the Spanish already established the fact that they was calling them people on them colonies Negroes. So once they will take you into them colonies, you will be automatically classified as a fucking Negro. You understand? And then you will be bought. You basically were stripped of whatever if you came back. If they didn't kill your ass. If you came back. On them, when you start hearing a lot of these Jim Crow stories, or not the Jim Crow, what's the story they always tell you about? The Willie Lynch story of how to break the Indians. Basically, it was a similar thing. Even though that we know Willie Lynch is something that was written in the 60s, but they had similar ways to break you on them colonies in the West Indies, because that's where they would take you, to the West Indies, to break you. Okay, now a lot of that stuff that they was telling you happened on the West Indies, and them people was just straight fucking submitting and like, yo, man, fuck that, and then they would take you and bring you back. Okay, now let's run through that one more time. Okay, all right, it says, all right, say describing Virginia Indians as a rude and barbarous and naked people who worship the devil. The reports Arthur argued that the Indians who before were used as friends may now be justly be compelled to servitude and drudgery. As the historian C.S. Evans has explained, the enslavement of the Indians from 1610 to 1645 tended to be a form of punitive retribution. And animosity and distrust was growing between the English and the Indians. The Indians continued to provide labor under circumstances that, while legally unclear, often amounted to slavery. Everest has argued that deeds and wills from this time period indicate that Indians were inherited within the white families, and that there was not indentured servitude indisruptibly. And by 1661, at least, at the latest, Indians could be and were lifelong servants. Now, check this out. Now, 1661 is when we getting close to like 16, when they start talking about 1682, and they start making a lot of these laws where they telling you that you can't own guns. Now you know why you couldn't own guns. And they said lifelong servants, okay? You don't hear about none of this shit in history. They tell you, now look, we all the way up in 1661 in Virginia, and they still ain't mentioned bringing no Africans here. Okay, now this is 1661. When do you get your first slave story in the Virginia? 1619. They're still not talking about bringing any Africans here, even on here. And what happened around 1619? The second Anglo-Powhatan War, 1622 to 1632. So you honestly believe they was bringing Africans there? Well, I got a document that's going to show some shit. That's the reason why I'm kind of putting both of them together, because it's going to kind of give you some explanations of everything. All right? Even though it's going to probably go drivel off on some other on some other understanding or clarification, but it's going to pretty much touch on the 1619 joint, which Mr. Calloway touched on, and he was saying how the Spanish vessel, and I touched on it as well. You know what I'm saying? But just to let you know, you understand what I'm saying? What is they not talking about at this point in time? This is 1661, and we have no stories about any freaking Africans coming here. Okay? What did they tell you? They good for saying that 1619 is when they first brought the African slaves here. Okay? But we're going to get into this. Remember, lifelong servants. Now, check this out. Only after the Third Anglo-Powhatan War, 1644 through 1646, did Indian slavery become a lucrative part of the Virginia economy. The treaty ending the war defined the tribe and chiefdom under two Senacamako as the tributaries and the subject to English rule, requiring yearly payment to the crown. So they was extorting these motherfuckers, man. It's a subject to the English rule, requiring yearly payment to the crown. Now look, we done danced around from 1607 to 1661 through 1646, and you hear, we're in VA too. You hear no story about any Africans being brought there. Who are they telling you that they're using as the fucking labor force? The Indians. Okay? Now, like I said, most people don't, like I said, man, you know, the ancestors, man, the ancestors flow through me with this shit right here, man. Because a lot of other people, you know what I'm saying, they might be a lot more brighter than I am. They still do not understand this shit, man. They do not understand it. You need the images to go along with this, all right? Now, let me try to get done with this, because I'm trying to condense this down to about 2 hours, all right? So, all right. Let me see where I was at. All right, define tribe. All right. It's requiring yearly payments to the crown and dictating were Indians who could live, hunt, and trade. To coerce Indians to comply with the treaty, the English also demand that English children shall and will freely volunteer come and live with the English, serving as hostage servants in English household. The English claimed they were educating and converting the children to Christianity as part of the tributary system, but many Indians complained that these children were subsequently sold on the slave market. And they was molesting these children and playing with these boys and girls. As we know, these freak fucking savages was doing, okay? Now, what did that tell you right there? The English claimed they was educating and converting the children. You send your children off to fucking military school. Or send them off to a military school. Or send them off to this Catholic school. Or send them off to these schools or whatever, all right? The English claimed they were educating and converting the children to Christianity as part of the tributary system, but the Indians complained that their children were subsequently sold on the slave market. So how wicked is that? You will give your children to it. What did they say? It says, check this. Let me read that one more time. To coerce the Indians to comply with the treaties, the English also demanded that the Indian children shall and will freely or voluntarily come and to live with the English, serving as hostage servants in English household. It say the English claimed they were educating and converting the children to Christianity as part as the tributary system, but many Indians complained that their children were subsequently sold on the slave market, and they was never seeing their fucking children again. Okay? 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 Now, do we hear about any Africans coming here thus far? I'm waiting. I'm waiting. What happened to these Indians that was there all this time? I'm waiting that eventually they was assimilated into European society. Okay? Now we know, I'm trying to think of the treaty. I can't think of it because I'm going a lot right now. But it was a time in Virginia. Okay, and if anybody know what I'm talking about, I mean, I gotta really, I'm getting a brain fart right now. But if anybody remember what I'm talking about, it was a time where the England, where white people and the so-called blacks was free in Virginia. Okay, but what they did was they created the caste system where they gave whites the rights, and then this is what happened. They flipped on us. All right, now check this shit out though. Tell me if that's not interesting right there. For those of y'all who don't understand this. One more time. The English claimed they were educating and converting the children to Christianity as part of the tributary system, but many Indians complained that these children were subsequently sold on the slave market. Okay? They were so they will take, they took your children as hostage. Yo, well, I don't believe y'all gonna do the right thing. So here, let me take little John or whatever to make sure you're gonna do the right thing. So they would take your children, little John or little Rah, or little, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Take them, probably play with them for a little bit. And I ain't trying to be funny because this shit is our family, man. This is not no joke or whatever, though. It's not no fucking joke, all right? But we know that these Englishmen was fucking some type of fucking homosexual fucking savages, man. All right, and they were subsequently sold on the slave market. What do these people do now? They sell children on the open market to this very day. Okay, to this very day. Okay, all right. So let's move on. By 1649, the enslavement of the children in English houses and stealing of Indian children for the slave market was a common that the General Assembly enacted two laws. One supplementing that no tribal children could be sold as slaves. The other that they could not be kept in the household after the age of 25. So they was keeping them motherfuckers until they was 25. The assembly passed similar prohibitation. I mean, I can't get that out. Prohibit. It say in 1655 and 1656. It say and in 1657 outlining punishment for anyone stealing or enslaving Indian children. Despite these laws, by late 17th century, many Indians refused to bring their children to English household due to the threat of enslavement. So it's saying by 17th century, where are these Africans that they're telling you about? Where are they? Crickets. Where the fuck is these Africans at this point in time? Because if you brought Africans here to do the work, why are you still using the services of the so-called Aborigines? Okay, yeah. Let's move on. And even a Virginia prohibited the enslavement of Indian children. The government sometimes encouraged it. The government sometimes encouraged it. The government sometimes encouraged it, meaning that they was smoking fucking mirrors. Oh, you better not do that. Just like the KKK. The fucking sheriff would come like, man, what happened, man? Oh man, they came 40 deep, and you thinking he on your side when he was with one of them. He had the hood on his motherfucking self. So it's been a conflict of interest since day one, because it's a basically white supremacy is colonization, like I put. That's what white supremacy is, colonization. So if you come here to be colonized, you under white supremacy. Just like right now, you see a lot of these motherfuckers complaining. You hear a lot of the immigrants complain about white supremacy now, right? But you signed paperwork to be part of it, motherfuckers. You signed paperwork to be part and pro-sell to white supremacy. So now white supremacy is not in your favor, and they telling you that they start to implement certain rule. Now you starting to have problems with it. You signed up. Think of it like this, man. You came here willingly. And this anybody, even to this very day. What is colonization? Taking an African from Africa and adapt American traditions. Celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Halloween, celebrating Christmas, celebrating all these Columbus Day. Like I told you, I was in the doctor office one day. Let me see how many people we got in here, man. See what the hell going on. All right, 143. Peace to everybody in the chat room. Hit that like button, man. Please feel free to hit the like button. No one holding a gun in your head to hit the like button. Please hit the like button. It's free to do so. All right, so look, I was in the doctor office one day, and when Barbara Bush died, this African lady was in there like, oh, I feel so bad. I'm looking at her like, are you serious? Do you know that that's motherfucking Alex the Crowley daughter? Oh, she don't know who Alex the Crowley is because they don't teach about Alex the Crowley in these European fucking institutions. Okay, but think of that. You signed up to be colonized. This is the reason why you sell, and everything that we resent is everything that they accept. This is the reason why we constantly run into problems with a lot of these so-called black immigrants. Because everything that we resist, they accept. Okay? Everything. If you tell them you don't celebrate this, they sit there, and a lot of these so-called Africans, a lot of these so-called West Indies and people from, just other black, and it's not all of them. Trust and believe that. We got a lot of brothers that come here and do good, wonderful work. But just like you got coon black Americans or black aborigines of North America, you got other coon aborigines from other parts of the world as far as other parts of the Americas. Okay? This is the reason why, like, a lot of people say, well, damn, a lot of these Mongoloid, a lot of the people in Mexico, they not the original Mexicans. These are motherfucking Mongoloids and people of the Spanish, the conquistador kids or whatever. And that's the reason why they come here. They don't mention you because they are begging these colonists to come into North America. That means I'm going to be good. I'm going to be on my best behavior, and I'm not going to get involved with what these Negroes is doing. Okay? Keep it moving, y'all. Let me see where I was at. All right, here we go. All right. I think I was right. The Assembly passed similar prohibit. I read that part right there because I had a problem with saying prohibition. It said, all right, so it's saying, and the Virginia prohibited the enslavement of the Indian children. And say the government sometime encouraged it. Officials of Accomack County, for instance, on June 16, 1670, commissioned a man they called Mr. John to find Indian children to sell to settlers. Now, these niggas was taking your children. If they had all these Africans, why was they still selling your children? Because this whole African myth is to cover up the fact that it was already Negroes here. This is the fucking problem. What most people don't clearly understand. They did not bring any Africans here in 1619. This is the biggest fucking lie ever. Okay? Okay? Oh, I does this shit, man. Trust and believe that I've done enough research on this to where I'm clear on this shit, y'all. Okay? Because if they were sending people back and forth from here to West Indies, and then they was bringing Africans into West Indies, but the people here resemble Africans, how the fuck you know who was who? It's a fucking lie. The people in the West Indies was already under subjugation of them, so therefore they could just transfer them, and they would just send them here. And when they send them here, they would say, "Oh, Negroes is coming in." You don't even know. And like I said, a lot of these, the Gold Coast and the rice coast and all that shit is in America. None of that shit is in Africa. All that shit is here in America, and people don't even understand it because they changed shit later on. They changed a lot of these colonies, and when they did start trying to colonize and set up colonies in Africa, which didn't work eventually, but when they did start setting up colonies over there or whatever, they mimicked the same thing that they learned here from the Aborigines. So whatever the Aborigines taught them in this country, they try to go over there and mimic the same thing. But it wasn't working properly because a lot of them people had, at this point in time, didn't have the earlier science of how we was doing it. But nonetheless, let's keep it moving. All right. So remember, it says sometime the government encouraged it. So we got on June, Mr. John. It's a commissioner, commissioned a man they called Mr. John. Mr. John is a motherfucking infamous kidnapper. Okay, he's an infamous kidnapper. Mr. John. Look how fucking devious this word is. It's in quotations too. To find Indian children to sell to settlers. Where are these Africans at? We is in the thick of Virginia. Where the fuck is these Africans that you claim that you bought here? Why are you selling children if you got grown-ass men that you bought here on fucking ships? Because it's all a fucking lie, y'all. It's a fucking lie. It's a fucking lie, y'all. I mean, people fall for it. Only thing they did was just change the names around. You understand what I'm saying? Where you see Negroes, where the people, because remember, I'm thinking, this is what I'm starting to think. This is what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking like this. The Negroes are the people from the West Indies, okay? The regular Indians was the Negroes here in the Americas. At certain points of time, they was bringing Negroes in from the West Indies to where they looked at just like the Negroes that was already the Indians here. And they just said, fuck it, they all Negroes. Fuck it. We trying to stop them from being Indians anyway. So fuck it, they all Negroes. Okay, see how that worked? See, we under the mind fuck that. And when you see the word Negro, they're Africans. No, the Spanish, listen, think of this. How did the English get the term of calling you Negroes? That's not an English term. That is not in any English vocabulary. That is because the English took over the Spanish fucking plantations. Okay? When they taken over the Spanish plantation, when the Spanish already was calling them Negroes, how can we prove this? Negro slaves from Seville. So Christopher Columbus and them told you this. But you are still under the, just like they try to do in New York. They try to change the Negro burial into the Indian burial. The only thing that they was doing was bringing Negroes from the English colonies in the West Indies to New York, and they was calling them Negro. And then sooner or later, they lumped us all and called all of us Negro. But remember, they was already taking your people from here to the West Indies. Then they'll bring you back as a motherfucking Negro. So this shit is pretty it's pretty explanatory, man. So in many cases where we think that these are Africans, they're really Negroes who was already, some of them was taken from here, some of them was already in the Caribbean. No, most of them was already in the Caribbean. Most of them was already in the Caribbean. Because in all these places where they say they brought Africans that we find, just like in Brazil, Luzia was there 12,000 years ago, you dumb motherfuckers. So if they saying that the earliest skeletons and bones did was Negro, what made you think it wasn't no Negroes there when the Portuguese got there? Oh, it wasn't no. Yo, listen, man, we can't be this fucking dumb. We just can't be this fucking dumb. We can't be. You have to. And these same niggas who niggas is following is dumbing your ass down. You understand what these same Negroes who niggas running around here following, who niggas, you know what I'm saying? These same Negroes that you running around here following is misleading your stupid asses. Okay? They're misleading your stupid asses. If it was already it was already motherfucking blacks in all of them in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Haiti or Haiti, in Jamaica, and all of them other islands. It was already Negroes there. But what they did was made the word Negro synonymous with the word African. That's the only thing they did. They changed the word Negro and said, oh, no, these are not Negro, they're Africans. And then people ran with the shit because if you don't understand, it was already Negroes here. Now, we way in the thick of Virginia. Where did they tell you? What did they tell you they brought Negroes here to do in Virginia? Look, we could just Google this. Look, check this out. Check this out. Look, check this out. Look. Look at this. Look at this. Look. And we're going to deal with this shit too. Look, this is an encyclopedia. Look, let's go ahead to the encyclopedia real quick. Now look, this is pretty much the same joint I'm reading from. Similar. This is encyclopedia too that I'm reading from. But check this out. It's a Virginia first, but they using these stories simultaneously. Okay. It say the Virginia first Africans arrived in Point Comfort on James River. On James River. We just read. What did we just read right here? Hold up. Look. So look, listen. It say, then on March 22nd, 1622, Indians under the leadership of Apache Chinook attacked settlements along the James River, killing nearly a third of the English population, initiating the Second Anglo-Powhatan War. Okay, they're fucking lying, man, and we catching them in lies. Okay, we catching them in a lie. It say, look. It say late in August 1619, there 20 and odd Negroes from a ship White Lion were sold in exchange for food, and some were transported to Jamestown. It say where they were sold again, likely into slavery. Historians have long believed these Africans have to come into Virginia from the Caribbean. Now look, it's telling you. Check this out. Hold up, they're kind of telling you some shit too. Listen to this. It say historians have long believed these Africans to come to Virginia from the Caribbean. Now look. It say, but Spanish records suggest they have been captured in a Spanish-controlled area of West Central Africa. They lying, y'all. They're fucking lying. They're lying. And look, let me show y'all something. I'm going to be reading through all this, man. So y'all going to have to really get with me on this, because this shit right here is deep. All right. Where we at? All right, here we go. Look. 1619. Some 20 Negroes was brought to Virginia. At least 11 had names of Spanish and probably Spanish characters. Later, they was joined by Negroes and mulattoes with names such as Antonio, John Pedro. These Spanish-derived servants could have been part of the American ancestry. However, no evidence is available except that they were secured from a captured Spanish vessel. Now, check this out. Let me put y'all on something else. We doing this. But when did the English let me see if I can word it right. I can look it up. I can look at it from this too right here. Well, nah, see, they got the English. See, look, I put when did the English arrive in the Caribbean? The English and the Spanish is not the fucking same. See how they, but it say the British begin their involvement with the Caribbean in the 17th century. Now check this out. They're telling you, they're giving you some research on that as well. Let me see something. Let me see what this takes me into. All right, so the British involvement from the early 1600s onward. Okay, so now remember, from the early 1600s onward. All right, so let me see something. It said the island of the Caribbean was discovered by the Italian explorer Christopher Columbus, working for the Spanish monarch in 1492. He made the first landing on Hispaniola and claimed it for Spanish crown, as he did on Cuba. This meant that the major islands of the Caribbean and Greater Antille were already Spanish possession. It say when the British began their involvement with the Caribbean in the early 17th century. Okay, now it shows you that they already had, the English already had. Now check this out. Look, it says the first Caribbean islands to be settled by the British were St. Kitts. It say 1623. It say in northeast, and Barbados in 1627. Now, where they said they was taking you to? Barbados. Now, look, it says in the southeast corner of the Caribbean basin, it say when the island filled up, English-speaking left the other locations, especially for Jamaica, after it was taken by the British from the Spanish in 1660. Okay? In 1660, the British took the Caribbean from the Spanish. So when they got there, they was already calling these people Negroes, man. The same thing in Cuba, the same thing on the island of Hispaniola. All right. So this is where you get, so that they're basically trying to confuse you with all of this nonsense right here. But I diverse, man. I'm gonna slow it down. Let's go back into this. All right. So let me go back, find out where the fuck I was at. I was right here. All right. So, all right. It say not only were children being enslaved after the 1646 treaty, but the treaty provision for the English dominance led to the practice of enslaving Indians for legal violations, even as it meant for financing war. For instance, when John Powell appealed the General Assembly in 1660 for damages caused by Indians in Northumberland County, the Assembly responded with retribution acts, compensating him with the sale of the Wakankamako Indians, who would be apprehended and sold. Okay, now listen. If they had all these Africans and they telling you that the Africans, this is how you know they lying, yo. I'm proving to you right here that history lied to us, that most of us, the majority of us was already here. History is lying to us. Okay, they're lying to us because they make it so prevalent that these people they brought here in 1619 started the beginning of slavery, but we're well in the thick of it, and they're not even mentioning no Africans coming here. Now, these are basically two of the same databases that I'm reading from or whatever, but one database telling you that it was secured from a Spanish vessel. But what did I tell you? The English, now look, if the English took the Caribbean from the Spanish in 1660, they've been scoping that shit out. They've been robbing. They was been robbing the Spanish vessels from the time of John Hawkins and Sir Francis Drake. They've been robbing them. So this is what led to them taking that shit, because they was mapping the shit out, and eventually when they got the drop on, when they took Barbados and started taking islands around it, then they got the drop on it and they fucking took it from the Spanish. Okay, so now look. All right. Let's say who will be apprehended and sold into the Forange County. The historian Edmund S. Morgan had explained that the casual nature of the act speaks volume about the acceptability of enslaving Indians by this period. Similar in 1666, Governor Sir William Brinkley presided over the General Court and declared that hostilities with the tribes of the Northern Neck been revenged by utter destruction, and that taking their women and children and their goods, i.e. selling them, would compensate for the county for the cost of the expedition, although in 1670 laws indicate that the captured should be servants who are freed at age 30. At age 30, and not slave bound to lifetime and forced labor. The laws were extremely largely ignored. Okay, now check this shit out, y'all. This right here is giving it all up, man. Like I said, you read this shit. Now we gonna go all the way in on this, man. Fuck it, why not? After 1646, how many people we got in here, man? All right, that's good money right there, man. I hope y'all enjoying this, man. I hope this people from Virginia. I hope y'all getting a real understanding about this shit, man. And probably gonna have to change the title because I'm gonna be going on this shit I'm gonna be going in depth on this though. But I will read the other document. Probably gonna have to do a part 2 because that's kind of long as well. But let's try to finish this shit up. Let me see how much longer I got to go. Yeah, buddy, I'm going all the way in on this. I'm going to change this shit, man. I'm going to have to change the title, y'all, because we're going to go all the way in on this. Fuck it. Yeah, we're going to go all the way in on this, man. Bacon's Rebellion. That was the name of. We're going to go all the way in on this, y'all. All right, so I'm definitely going to change the title to this. All right, so we're going to go all the way in on this, all right? So 1646, Indian labor was more common in many forms, from child hostage to indentured servants to slaves. These enslaved Indians worked in fields and house servants, interpreters, hunters, and guiders. Okay? Now look, listen to this, y'all. If they was enslaving these people all this time, they was taking their children. You think these people still had their original traditions, man, of being Indians? No. They was already assimilated into the society that was going on here, man. And I'm going to show y'all some images, okay? Now, it says interpreters, house servants. Now, who do they tell you was house servants? That's what I'm saying, man. The gig is up, y'all. The gig is up, man. The gig is up. We just need to just take that term Africa off, man, because the motherfucking gig is up, man. And those who can see this shit know that they're lying. They're interchanging Africans with Indians, man, or interchanging Negroes with Africans and slaves with Africans. They don't teach you none of that shit in school. They tell you this blatantly, oh, they brought Africans here to be fucking slaves. But then if you start saying, well, hold up, man, you had Indians too, then wouldn't that make sense that the majority, and then once you start seeing the fact that they changed up and they started changing the birth certificate, the people who was claiming to be Indians, they started putting Negro and color on the birth certificate. That is more than enough evidence to show cover up, man. That's more than enough evidence to take to the United Nations or to take to whoever you need to take to prove your case that you are a fucking Indian here. And these people have lied to us. These people have covered up. We got images to show. that it was already black people here. We got explorers. Listen, the gig is up, man. The gig is up, y'all. And I know a lot of motherfucking agents be on my channel, but I could care motherfucking less, man. Y'all know where I'm at. I could care fucking less. You already know what it is, agents. So you already know I ain't gonna stop doing this shit until my people is free. All right. When you restore us back as Aborigines and take that title of black, Negro, and color off of us, then I'll stop. But until then, I'm gonna keep on digging up these articles and keep on interpreting and keep on trying to help my people. Because at the end of the fucking day, you got enough servants here, agents. You have enough servants. You have all these Spanish, all these people that come from different parts of the world. Use them. Let my motherfucking people go. Let my people go. Give us back our fucking titles and let these people know that we was already here. Let's keep it going. All right. So English colonists, listen, English colonists preferred enslaved Indian women and children as domestic laborers rather than Africans or white laborers because they was considered the easiest to train. Now, what do they fucking tell you? Oh, you couldn't slave an Indian. An Indian was hard to enslave. They wasn't, man, listen, they was taking your children. So your ass was going to get right in line. What kind of savage fucking shit was that? That's how they was getting you, okay? That's how they was getting you. Now I gotta kind of condense this and put this in Culture Freedom, but understand, man, it's like I said, I have a lot of editing to do as far as my documentary. So, like I said, man, please, y'all send the donations so I can get this shit finished. I got 5 racks of my own that's going into this. You understand? I'm not going to finish this shit off until I get a total of maybe like almost $8,000 with the 5 I got. So far, I already got $1,100 from people who donated and everything. So with my money, I got almost $6,000. Like I said, I already started most of the I've been out there. I got footage. I've been in pretty much. I'm waiting to after my semester over to start traveling, to start going to these places and interviewing them. I'm gonna do it all over the Christmas what's the name, before I go back to school in the spring. All right, but I'm gonna be done editing. I'm gonna be already been in contact with most of the people. My semester's over with next month, December 19th. From December 19th until January, I have to be able to do these traveling. But I have my daughter, and I'm responsible for my daughter, picking my daughter up. I don't have nobody really to leave that responsibility to. So that's kind of, I'm trying to fit all that shit within a tight window. All right. So that's the reason why I'm saying that, you know, I need to get this done. I need to kind of persuade the speakers to be available when I need them to be available. That's why I need the finances to really do that. All right. So that's part of the reason why I'm asking people to support me. You got my PayPal, you got my Cash App. You know, the t-shirt spray, I use money from that as well. I want to ultimately get this shit out. This ain't about somebody trying to get a get rich scheme, or somebody trying to fucking buy a house off of a couple of $1,000s, or somebody trying to, you know, live and rent no motherfucking R8 BMW or none of this goofy shit. My little Jeep Cherokee, my little 2015 Jeep Cherokee, along with my other vehicle, I get around pretty well with that. And this ain't got nothing to do with no fucking donations or none of this other goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I just need people to support this, man, because like I said, ultimately, we're going to get this shit. I'm going to push this shit. This shit is going to get on Amazon, Netflix, or Hulu, or it's going to, shit, if I can get it on HBO, okay? If I can get it on HBO, okay, we're going to get this shit out there, okay, with the people who helped me thus far and the people who don't want to help me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, you know, support your boy. Let's get with this, all right? All right, so let's read this again. The enslaved Indians worked in the field, and the house servants, interpreters, hunters, and guiders. English colonists preferred enslaved Indians, women, and children as domestic laborers. What did they tell you? The Indian could not be enslaved. The Indian was refused to be enslaved. In most cases, they did. And once you start getting to the 1800s, once they already knew, because these stories then trickled out to the other parts of these other states, which they wasn't states, they was just basically territories at that point in time. But they already knew what the European was doing. So in most cases, a lot of women was killing their children because they did not want their children to be sold or to be a servant. So this is the reason when you start getting like, man, yo, listen, I got all this shit down pat. So like I said, man, you know, there's no debate with me. it's just a debate just to show people, because people don't clearly understand this shit or whatever. So they need someone to really put it in perspective. We got the pictures, we got the images, we got everything. So it's up to the, you know, if you slow if you slow, or if you have a love with Kemet, we're going to put Kemet on trial, or put the African origins on trial as well, by showing you that your so-called beloved Kemet is not the origins of civilization like you've been fucking told. So with that, I'm gonna continue. All right. So these enslaved Indians, workers in the field and household field niggas, house servants, interpreters, hunters, and guiders. Now these children grew up. They telling you they didn't release you till you was 30. So when you was 30, well, if they release you, okay, they're telling you they didn't release you till you was 30. So you telling me that these people went right back on in their tribes? No. These motherfuckers wearing clothes and have English last names at this point in time. So where the fuck is these people at? I'm waiting. Where they at? Where they at? Oh, can't nobody tell you where they at, because the shit is a joke. All right. English colonists prefer enslaved Indian women and children as domestic labor rather than Africans and white laborers, because they were considered easiest to train and control. Indian men were perceived as poles of greater risk or obsolescence. I can't pronounce, and escape, and so were often profitably sold to American buyers as far away as New England and the sugar. Man, come on, y'all. Come on, man. Listen. Let me go back over this again, y'all, because this is edifying, y'all. This is edifying. This has to edify you at this point in time, okay? Listen to this, y'all, okay? Listen to this. This is edification, y'all. Indian men were perceived to pose a greater risk and escape. Okay, now it says, and so were often profitably sold to American buyers as far as New England or the sugar plantations of the West Indies, where they could not escape. The historian Everest has argued that when these external markets became available, financial incentives overtook vengeance as the primary driver of Indian enslavement. When the English colonists began to participate in the existing Indian trade that involved slaves and guns, and enslavement briefly became an important part of the colony economics. Okay. I'm showing you this shit happened in Massachusetts, in New York, in Virginia, in South Carolina. Remember, Georgia, the Carolinas are all the same. Whether it's north or south, just directions, the whole area is the Carolinas. Whether it's south or north, Georgia is part of the Carolinas, Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana. All these shits had fucking plantation, even Florida, okay? And they tell you the same story. So you was moving all these. So in Massachusetts, they was moving Indians to the West. They was putting Indians, selling them to the West Indians, or moving them to West Indians. In New York, they were sending you to the West Indians. In Virginia, they were sending you to the West Indians. In South Carolina, they were sending you to the West Indians. In fucking Louisiana, Mississippi, the NASCAP was sent to the Caribbean. So all these Indians were sent to the motherfucking Caribbean, y'all. Yo, the gig is up, yo. If you don't understand this shit at this point in time, or if you don't understand what the fuck happened or whatever, and you still think that they brought Africans over here when they telling you, oh, these people died of disease, get the fuck out of here. I said, when all else fell, they start using terms, and they start using that these people wouldn't be enslaved, and these people was primarily died off. Yeah, they died off, all right. They died off because once you was colonized and once you assimilated into the society, you was no longer Indian. Now you adapted to English traditions or English ways, now or Christian ways, or rather. So now you're one of them. That's how you died off. Okay? If they took the damn children, if they took the motherfucking children, they telling you these are not no Africans that they telling you that they selling here. These are people of the land. They use the word African very briefly. I said, man, the gig is up, man. It's your boy the time to this one, y'all. Trust and believe that, all right? So now look, one more time, y'all, for those of you who need further understanding, okay? Check this out. Indian men were perceived to pose a greater risk of obscurity, and escape, and so they were often profitably sold to American buyers as far as New England or the sugar plantations of West Indies, where they could not escape. Okay? Now it says the historian Everest argued that when these internal markets became available, financial incentives overtook vengeance as a primary driver of the Indian enslavement. When English colonists began to participate in existing Indian trade that involved slaves and guns, Indian enslavement briefly became an important part of the colonial economy. They don't tell you that. They tell you that the Africans was part of the colonial economy. Okay? Let me see what's going on in the chat room, man. Let me see what's going on real quick. Let me just click over real quick. Let me close this out. What y'all got to say? Let me see what y'all got to say. Peace to everybody in the chat room. I don't want to start calling names out because it's going to kind of throw me off, but y'all already know, man, how we do this, man. Peace to everybody in the chat room. So far, I got 71 likes. It's 153 people watching it. Please hit the like button so this could be a trending video. I appreciate everybody coming through. Please hit the like button, man. I mean, like I said, you know, if you're not sending no donations, just please do your job, man. Let me see something. Let me see something real quick, y'all. Hold on for a second. Let me send. AP. I got you. I'm about to send you a link right now, my brother. Just give me 1 second, y'all. Hold up. We're gonna go back into. Just need to take a brief break. What the fuck is this? What is this? My bad, y'all. I'm looking at something. Hold up. All right. Yeah, man. This shit is deep, y'all. See, this is something why I decided to really touch on the Indian slavery, because no one is touching on this shit. Okay, no one is touching on this. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, you know what? Hey, I'm sorry about that, peoples, man. A lot of people hit me up on emails. I got a lot of them saved. So this Saturday, I'm going to make my time and start calling. I'm going to call a lot of people I haven't had an opportunity to call. I'm very sorry, y'all. Like I said, I had midterm, had a lot of shit going on. So just please bear with me, y'all. I'm definitely, you know, I respond back to most people emails. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem, like, definitely reaching out to y'all. So just give me some time. I promise you I got y'all, all right? Oh, so y'all need links. So you want me to put the links out. And you know what, man? Look, I got mad links. So Terrence Jackson, please email me. Let me put my email in the description. I need to start putting my email in the description too. I don't know, man. It's just sometimes, look, like I said, I'm not an expert at this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not, like, sometimes this shit overwhelms me with, like, looking up a lot of these so-called articles and finding research material. So, you know, it's sometimes it's just overwhelming, y'all. So please bear with me. But let's get back into, matter of fact, you know what? Before I get back in the video, let me send AP, brother, send AP the link real quick. AP, if you in there, you got the link. Let me email, let me text him real quick. All right, just bear with me, people. All right, sent it to him. All right, so let me get back into this business. All right, so boom. All right, so for those, I see more people came in. Please hit that like button on the way out. One more time. Let's read this one more time, y'all, because I see I got some more people in. All right, so it say after 1646. Now this is ultimately 27 years after they supposedly have brought Africans here. They're still telling you about Indian slavery. After 1646, Indian labor was more common in many forms, from child hostage, the indentured servants to slaves, okay? From indentured servants to slaves. The enslaved Indian worked in the fields as house servants, interpreters, hunters, and guiders. The English colonists preferred enslaved Indian women and children as domestic laborers rather than Africans or white laborers because they were considered easiest to train to and control. So think of this, man. When you see these black mothers out here who be putting these fear of their children or putting the fear, you know what I'm saying, who got this fear, where the fuck you think that shit came from? Where do you think that came from? Where do you think that came from? Taking your children as hostages. Indian men was perceived to pose a greater risk or escape, and so they were often profitably sold to American buyers as far away as New England or the sugar plantations of the West Indies. So let me keep it moving. Where they could not escape. The historian Everest had urged that when these external markets became available, financial incentives overtook vengeance as the primary driver of Indian enslavement. When the English colonists begun to participate in existing Indian trades that involved slaves and guns, the Indian enslavement briefly became an important part of the colonial economy. I thought the Africans was part of the colonial economy. I thought the Africans was part of the colonial colony. Now check this shit out real quick. 3-second style, real quick. We're just gonna go here real quick. Let's go here real quick. Look, Virginia. See this? See these little kids on the fucking plantation? Now, these is drawings. Now, people going, oh, man, this doesn't prove nothing. It proves a lot. It proves a motherfucking lot. You see this white motherfucker here? This is white, and this is black. Okay, you see these people? See this? Let's check this out. See this? You know what? Hold up. Let me see something. Like that. We're going to go here. Look, see the plantation? See the kids in the plantation? See this? See the kids on the plantation? See this? Look, you see he got a pointed stick. See this? Look, look, see the European? Look at the kids. Look at the fucking kids right here. These are fucking kids. These are Indians, man. These are not no damn Africans, okay? Look, kids. You see more kids right here? Tobacco plantation. You see the Euro, you see the, these are obviously Englishmen. See this? Look at the people. Look at the Indians. They have afros, okay? Look at the kid. Look. Oh, I got hundreds of these pictures, so the gig is up. The gig is up. See that? Let me see if it take me to the next picture. Let me see. Hold up. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see something. Oh, it's going backwards. See this? Look. Look. Negro. Okay? Look. And now, see, this is when it comes to using your fucking brain, okay? And not using what these fucking crackers have deemed you to learn, right? Just holding on for a second. What? Hold up. Hold up for a second. I'm sorry, my bad. I was supposed to pick my daughter up. All right, look. My other daughter, rather. See this right here? See this? See what the Negro slaves had on? You see what the like I said, man, yo, I just get so tired of trying to explain this to retardation people, bro. I get so tired of trying to explain this shit to people, man, because the shit is fucking the shit is like you can't get no further with this shit, man. It's no other way to basically it's no other way to put this shit, man. Look, look, look. This is their images. This is not the motherfucking attachment one image. Look what these people look like. Look. And look who work in the fucking fields. Children. You see this? You see this? Like I said, y'all. Like I said, man. Look. See this? See this? Virginia. This is not an African. This is a motherfucking Aborigine. And like I told you, see what they was doing was they will send you from America. They will send you from North America to the West Indies. When you pop up in the West Indies, it was already established that they was calling the people there Negro. So the English was already called. That's where they get the word nigger and all these other terms from. That ain't no Niger or none of that other goofy shit that people assume or people think. That's what the fucking Spanish was calling the people there for dark. They was calling them Negro for dark, man. And what they was doing, if they get said, look, they get said it. look, they get said they were sending the men there. They were sending the men to New England or the sugar plantations of the West Indies. Where did they tell you most of the Africans came from? The West Indies, right? Then they tell you that they would bring the Africans to the West Indies and then bring them to Barbados and these numerous ports, but it was already Negroes there. And this is what this dumbass nigga Jabari, who's extremely colonized, because he want to sit here. Oh, well, when you say this, and man, I ain't got time to be talking like that, nigga. I'm a product of my environment, nigga. I'm speaking Algonquin right now, nigga. Broken English dialogue. I'm speaking this shit right now. What my ancestors installed in me, man. My ancestors didn't want me to be colonized. They want me to break down and speak the King's and Queen English. That doesn't make me a better person by speaking the King's and Queen English the best. Doesn't make me the best person. You understand what I'm saying? But along this society, the better you can speak, and the better your tone, and the better you try to sound colonized like this, people only shows how much the fucking fear you got. You understand what I'm saying? So let's move it on, man, because I got a little bit more. Probably gonna end this in probably about another hour, so we got another hour to go. Like I said, hit them likes. Let me see if y'all hitting them likes, man. At first, I wasn't recommending people to hit the like button, but now, you know, my man told me your shit'll be more trending if you hit the like button. I don't know. I still got 71 likes, man. 153 people watching, man. I got 159 right there. Hold up. That might be moved up, though. But yeah, hit the like buttons, man. You know what I mean? If you enjoy the information, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be that hard for you to hit the like button. Unless you just a hater. Unless I got half of the 153 people is haters. You're not Aborigine. If you're Aborigine, you will respect the information that I'm putting out there, man. And just, you know what I'm saying, you will respect the information, and you also would definitely want to help the brother out as far as trying to get this shit out here. Now, listen. By the mid-17th century, labor-intensive tobacco dominated the Virginia economy, requiring a large and steady work. In addition, mostly whites, indentured servants, and African slaves. Now, check this out. It say, in addition to most white and indentured servants and African slaves, English colonists also relied. Now, look, now they flipping it. Now they trying to change it. In addition, we just read this shit and it ain't say nothing about no white or no African slaves until that last paragraph, okay? Now, it say, in addition, how would you bring in Africans here when the Africans didn't know how to work this shit? It say white indentured servants, okay? Now, look, it say Africans. It say English colonists also relied on enslaved Indians. They were persons often from other Indians who captured their enemies and traded them to English dealers for English guns. Once some tribes began to be well armed for the gun trade, often compelled to enter the market. If they didn't arm themselves with European weapons and enslave other Indians, they would themselves become target of slavers. Okay? It say the English increasingly wanted to trade for slaves, and Indians increasingly wanted to trade for guns. Why would you listen? Why did you need to trade when you just clearly said in addition to white indentured servants and Africans, you had enough workers according to what you saying? Because they're lying. They're lying. They need to throw that word African in there just to so you won't be thrown off. 1619 story. There's more additional other stories of other ships arriving. They just threw that shit out there because they was in fear that people was going to find out that it was already Negroes here. So they had to make up the story and say that these people came from Africa. The gig is up, y'all. The gig is up. The gig is up. The shit is up, man. The shit is up. I just hope some of you people comprehend this shit and you start working on trying to get yourself free, man. All right. So let me read it on. Let me see. Hold on. Where was I at? All right. Say they would themselves become target of slavers. So these niggas just was kidnapping your ass. So if they was doing that in Africa, if they didn't have to go to Africa, it would cost way more money for you to jump in a damn ship and go all the way across the ocean. It would take way more money for you to jump in a ship and go all the way across the ocean, as opposed to them just enslaving the people here. They giving people guns. And think of it like this: them guns was also expensive. Okay, how much money did you think it probably take? Well, now how much resources did you think it probably took to make a damn gun? Okay, so you think that the guns wasn't expensive to trade for a human being? You think the guns wasn't expensive to trade for a human being? And a lot of these people who was doing the traders was actually the fucking freemen. But I guess yo, listen, this shit is deep, y'all. This shit is deep, y'all. This shit is deep. A lot of the people who was doing the trading for these guns was never enslaved because they was the fucking freemen. You understand? That's why some people got stories. Hold on for a second. Yo, I just sent the link to you, AP, in the middle of the video. Yeah, I'm live now. I told you I did check your messages, man. I just sent you the link. Okay. All right, well, just come in on the what's the name, and we can just once I like you can elaborate on this or whatever, and we can. All right, so just check your email. I sent it to your email. All right, now that was brother AP. All right, so like I said, man, you know, like yo, this shit is deep, y'all. This shit is deep, y'all. This shit is deep, man. Most of your freemen was the motherfucking Indians that was selling you. Most people talk about my people was never slaves because most people sold us out. How would you never become a slave? Let's read this one more time. If they didn't arm themselves with European weapons and enslave other Indians, they would themselves become a target of slavers. Okay? Okay? One more time for the people who need to get on a small bus occasionally. If they didn't, hold up, let me read it back from the top. The Indians were purchased often from other Indians who captured their enemies and traded them to English dealers for English guns. Once some tribes began to be well armed from the gun trade, others were often compelled to enter the market. So other Indians was often compelled to enter the market. Why would they have an Indian market if you was bringing all these Africans here? And how expensive is it to fucking trade guns? So these niggas, so you had your own people because they figures though they can get into market just so if you was a peaceful tribe who didn't have guns, they would just go in there, kidnap them women, children, send the men out. If the men gave up or wanted to stay with their family, the men would be on the same plantation. Yo, this is a slave story right here, y'all. This is a much worse slave story than the ones you hear about any African, because this is taking whole tribes and whole villages. This is our slave story right here. Okay, now look, for those of you who say, oh, my family was never slaves, because my understanding of it is these motherfuckers wanted the land. So they didn't leave no stone unturned. Okay, so the ones who wasn't slaves was even involved in the fucking slave system. So let's continue. So it say, once some other tribes begin to be well armed from the gun trade, others would often compel to enter the market. If they didn't arm themselves with European weapons and enslave other Indians, they would themselves become targets of slavers. As the English increasingly wanted to trade for slaves and Indians increasingly wanted to trade for guns, the market focused on slaves while others become more violent. Okay, now let's continue. Let's continue because this shit is deep. Okay, I'm not even going to, I'm going to save that other article and I'm just going to change the title for this one, man, because this shit is deep, y'all. Several Indian tribes became prominent slavers in Virginia, including the Ricahakaran. I can't pronounce that right here. You can pronounce it Ricehecran tribe. Okay, if you could pronounce that, I can't pronounce that. Say Rico Hakan. Rico Hakan. Rika Hakrian. Rico Hakrian tribe, originally from the area of around Lake Erie in New York. The tribe had been displaced by the Iroquois during the Beaver War. Now, the Beaver War is something I think I touched on before. It's a series of Indian conflict in the mid-1600s. In 1656, the Ricahakaran Indians abandoned their settlements in New York and moved south, seeking trades at the falls of James River. Now, these motherfuckers moved all the way from New York. So, hold up. Bro, do you know how far New York is to Virginia? Huh? Let's be for real, y'all. Do you know how far New York is to Virginia, yo? So these people move. That must means that probably New Jersey and Pennsylvania was probably part of New York. So these people probably was moving. Like I said, I really like it. It's kind of not easily to understand this shit sometimes because New York to Virginia is a long ass way, y'all. And I don't see people walking all the way to fucking Virginia, man. That's a long freaking way. But remember, if you walking along the coast, you have access to certain things, though. But let's continue on. All right. Seeking trade at the falls of James River in the Henrico County. After settling in Virginia and becoming known as the Westos, it say they became feared raiders. What is a raider? A raider is someone running into your motherfucking tribe, your village, and capturing fucking people, okay? Initially, Colonel Edward Hill was charged by the General Assembly with non-violently removing the Westo Indians from the regions. However, his militia aided the Pamunkey and Chickahominy forces. Fought the Westos at the Battle of Bloody Run, 1656 in Richmond, which resulted in the death of Toto Pontomoy. It say we roll ants, or chief of the Pamunkey. It say the assembly subsequently suspended Hill and charged him with paying for the agreement for a peace with the tribe. The Westo then secured arrangements with the English traders to barter guns for slaves. The colony was less concerned with forcing the Westo Indians into tributary status and more interested in the profitable trade. Now, look, you niggas sit up here and talk about fucking Moors, okay? I believe the more you sit here and talk about Moors is the more distracting from you motherfucking traders or whatever. And you sit up here and other niggas come here from other places. Oh, the Moors was the main ones. No, it was you. It was you just like today. It was you. You was the main people selling your people out. I mean, even though that you was a Moor because you was a dark-skinned rustic person, or copper color. Rustic is copper color, okay? But at the same token, niggas always talk about, oh, the Moors did. No. It was you motherfuckers. And you got other niggas such as, I'm not going to mention the brother name, because the brother did reach out to me and piece it up to me. So, I mean, for now it's peace or whatever. But, nonetheless, though, people focus on talking about the Moors, but they're not focusing on talking about the Aborigines that sold you out. This is where your fucking freemen came from. If these crackers came here to take the land and you seen everybody up at arms, right? Then how did you have black freemen? Now, we know later on that eventually that if you was able to buy your way to freedom, which I don't believe that, because they were saying that they was enslaving us as lifetime. Who else did they tell you was lifetime slaves? Africans. Africans would be more likely to be freed than a fucking Aborigine. But remember, they're not even Africans, because if they were sending, like I said, if we go to Massachusetts, they were sending the people there to the West Indies. If we go to New York, they were sending the people there to the West Indies. If we go to Virginia, they were sending the people there to the West Indies. If we go to South Carolina, they were sending the people there to the West Indies. If we go to Louisiana, they were sending the people there to the West Indies. If we go to Massachusetts, Mississippi, etc., they were sending the people there to the West Indies. So if it was where's all these people at in the West Indies, man? Where are they at? Oh, because they forgot to tell you that they was Negroes. They forgot to tell you that, but like I said, with the help of Smithsonian, James Chatter, and other people, they already tell you that the first Americans resemble Africans, Australian, South Pacific Islanders, man. So once you understand that, you say, all right, well, that makes sense to why it's people in the West Indies. Then you go to West Indies, you find the oldest fucking skeletons is Negro. You go to Brazil, the oldest skeletons is Negro. Yo, like I said, man, the gig is up, man. Let me continue this shit, man, because this is very interesting. All right, so the Westos, I need to write this down. I need to do some research on this, man. Let me do some. Let's do some research on this. Westo Indians. All right. I never heard of that. I mean, I heard briefly of them, but I never really took no time to check this out. The Westos built an arsenal and began overpowering local tribes in Virginia and North Carolina, enslaving captives for the marketplace. The trade was so successful that by late 1656, the Westos had expanded their influence, moved further south out of Virginia to the Savannah River in what would become Georgia. And began raiding so far as the Spanish mission town in Florida. The raider community killing and enslaving for the English market. By 1659, the Spanish report that these raiders, this is where you get your word fucking raiders from, y'all. Wow. And my team is Oakland Raiders, y'all. I'm not gonna front, y'all. Damn, yo. Shaking my fucking head. God damn. The Spanish reported that these raiders, man, give me a second, y'all. Give me a second to get together. Shit. Yo, I gotta tell y'all, man. Give me a second, man. Give me a second to get it together, y'all. Like I tell y'all, let me go in the chat room, y'all. Like I tell y'all, man, this shit is deep, man. And reading this, sometimes I mean, all the time it touches me, man. Like, damn, like, whew. Now it all makes sense. All this shit makes sense, y'all. It all makes sense, y'all. Real talk, y'all. I ain't gonna front, bro. Yeah, he is hella feminine. He's a feminine bitch ass nigga, Jabari and shit. Yeah. But damn, yo, you hear this, man? So the Raiders, because we also know that the Buccaneers also was yo, man, these motherfuckers, man, that then fucking, oh my God, yo. Wow. Damn. Whew. God damn, yo. They got us, man. They got us. They got us. They got us, yo. They got us. God damn. You said 435 miles from New York to Virginia. Damn, they got us, man. Oh my God. Oof. Let me get back to this shit, man. Peace to everybody in the chat room. God damn, yo, they got us, man. They got us worshiping our own demise, man. The 49ers, the Raiders, the Buccaneers. My God, my God, my God, bro. You can't trust none of this shit that they put out there, bro. None of it. Damn, you can't trust none of this shit, man. I tell you, if you got a football team, your best football team to have a football team after one of these damn animals, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know the Buccaneers was aborigines in Florida that was capturing fucking slave ships or capturing ships that was coming from the Spaniards. The Raiders, they just told you, was the Westos from New York that was capturing and they made a lucrative business of this shit. Let me read this one more time, yo. The Westos built an arsenal. Now these are aborigines from New York that came west. The Westos built an arsenal and began overpowering local tribes in Virginia and North Carolina. Remember, North Carolina, Virginia, it was all the same. Enslaving captives for the marketplace. The trade was so successful that by late 1656, the Westos had expanded their influence, moved further south out of Virginia to the Savannah River. It was in what would become Georgia and begin raiding as far as south as the Spanish mission towns in Florida. The Raiders communities killing and enslaving. So these niggas was used to come in and kill our own people. So it was kill or be killed, man. It was kill or be killed. Killing and enslaving for the English market. My God, yo, here we go. Thought it was an African slave trade. Thought it was an African slave trade. Thought it was an African slave trade. The English market. By 1659, the Spanish reported that these raiders were armed with guns and assisted by traders from Jamestown. Traders. You're a trader. That's a fucking trader right there. What the fuck do trader means? Oh my God, yo. Wow. Wow. Man, listen, man, hit one, man, if y'all feeling this shit, yo. Please hit one, man, in the description, man. If y'all feeling this shit right here, y'all. Hit one, please. If y'all feeling this shit, hit one, man. God damn. Wow.
The shit flame, bro. I mean, it's going in. You can't, it's undeniable.
God damn, man. Woo. Yo, my fucking brain is smoking.
Yeah, man.
God damn.
That's why I told them, get your pens and your papers out, man. This is a heavy damn, yo.
That's why they call your ass a fucking traitor. You feeling me, AP? That's why they call you a traitor, because you were trading Indians for guns. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, yo, that shit is...
Ain't no such thing as no African. Man, that shit is over with.
Damn. You hear this shit? I think you got your shit playing in the back.
Nah, that ain't me.
Hold up, that ain't you. Hold up. Let me see something. Let me make sure we ain't got no intruders in this motherfucker. Oh, nah, that was you, but it's all good. Don't worry about it, brother. But what you got to say about that, AP, before I go further?
Nah, it's just fire, man. I mean, what more can you say? You just showed the connections of last time you touched on the subject with the 49ers. And then you just proved that those people assimilated East only to establish the same shit and intermingle and put their signs together with the people here.
Damn. So traitors, the reason why they call your ass you a fucking traitor. So you will come. Do you guys feeling this shit, y'all? Like, really, do you understand what the fuck this shit means, man? Like, wow.
You remember that one picture you showed, bro, with the three? I think it was four people in the picture. Had it was three people, two Aborigines and a white man. You remember that picture?
I got it up there. Hold up.
Yeah, you gonna show that, man. Cause that's what a traitor is, and you looking at it right now, assimilated over and over, just in modern time. You trying to get the white man down and take position, and another Aborigine got you at gunpoint helping the cracker. That's the traitor.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. And that's what niggas do these days, man. Wow. Let me see something. I got that picture up here too. If I ain't got it here, I got it in my other notes. Let me see. Hold on, I want to show y'all that picture. I think y'all have seen it before, but let's find it. Excuse me, y'all. I'm a little hoarse from doing all this reading and shit. Let me see something. It's in here somewhere. Let's hold up for a second. I want to find. Here we go, right here. Y'all see this picture, y'all? Look. Damn. Look. Look at this, y'all. See this?
That picture says 1,000 words, man.
Look, he got feathers in his head, so this ain't no motherfucking African. Okay? Look. Look at this shit, y'all. See this? Wow. All right, let me get finished reading this shit. God damn, yo. All right, so all right. One more time. Matter of fact, give me one second. Let me go grab some water, man. You want to talk to the people real quick, A1? Just give me a sec. I mean, AP.
Oh, what'd you say, bro? I couldn't hear you. You went out. Yeah, man. So y'all see how A1 just dropped that flame. You know what I'm saying? That picture speaks for itself. And this whole bill speaks volumes. Cause we dealing with a lot of sneaky aborigines, man, and it's always been a traitor throughout time that always took down a good group of people, man, that was striding. So make sure y'all look to y'all lefts, and you look to your right, and make sure you ain't got no traitor standing beside you.
God damn, man. Whew. Damn. Fucking traitors. That's where the traitors and the raiders. Wow. Y'all, man, you heard that one more time. Let's read it one more time from the top. The raiders, communities, killing and enslaving for the English market. Okay? By 1659, the Spanish reported that these raiders was armed with guns and assisted by traders from Jamestown, such as a prominent English trader Abraham Wood, who fled the newly enslaved Indians into Virginia marketplace in early 1662. Governor Brinkley placed Wood in charge of all trades with Indians like the Westos, okay? All right, the Westos vacated their place on Virginia prominent trading path. Members of the Akanichi tribe living on the falls of the Roanoke River established themselves as a dominant Indian slave brokers in Virginia. As now, look, the Okanichi tribes. These motherfuckers are traders. Look, the Okanichi tribe living on the fall of Roanoke River established themselves as the dominant Indian slave brokers. So they putting names out here. Do not claim these names, y'all. You better be careful what tribes you claim, y'all. You better be careful, yo. You better be fucking careful what tribes you claim, y'all. Because if I see an old Okanichi, if I see somebody claiming to be Okanichi, we gonna get into it. Okay?
That's a fact.
You understand that? So, all right. As this, yo, this some deep shit, man. Word is bond. This some deep shit, yo. And this took me away from what I initially was going to do. I was initially going to touch on this one. I was going to initially touch on this PDF right here. I was going to touch on this right here, but I was reading through some of that, and I said, you know what? I'm going to say this for a whole nother video. This going to be, I already kind of went into this on most of this, but we're going to touch, this going to be a whole nother video, though. But this right here, let's continue reading some more of this, right? All right. So, where was I at? All right, it say, at this trade in guns and slaves became a larger and more profitable conflict among tribes increased. Violence erupted on small and large scales. In 1670, for instance, the Okanichi Indians responded to Westo raids, killing Westo Indians aligned with Wood. The Westo and the Okanichi spared tribal conflict throughout the entire Southeast, and many Indians were killed, enslaved, or otherwise scattered. Many Indians were killed, enslaved, and otherwise scattered. Okay, we're gonna get into Bacon Rebellion. Late 17th century. It say there was a sporadic attempt in Virginia to regulate the Indian. So we into the 17th century and they still talk about Indian slave trade. Even though that we said that they said it went well up to the 1800s, but we into the 1700s and they still talking about the Indian slave trade. Where are all these Africans that they claim that they bought here? Why, if they brought Africans here, why would they pay other Indians to round up other Indians, man? Because they wanted the fucking land. They wanted the land. If they was bringing other Africans here, why was they rounding up? What? You tell me. If you were smart, what would you do? Would you go all the way to Africa and cross the Atlantic Ocean and go all the way? Because people is fucked up by that. People is still fucked up. Yeah, there's slaves. There's currents that bring you all the way from West Africa to the Americas. They ain't have to go to no fucking no Africa, you idiots. They didn't even have to go there. They was enslaving us here, and they was paying other Indians to do it.
Facts.
Okay, so it says often motivated to ensure that the government retain part of the profits. These regulations ultimately had little influence on the trading economy. Laws allowing Indian war prisoners to be enslaved was enacted In 1660, 1668, and 1670, a law requiring Indian war captures to be servants and not slaves was passed. In 1670, but largely ignored, the General Assembly required license to engage in trade with the Indians, but many teachers easily participated outside these regulations, while traders between colonists and Indians grew. Some did conflict and animosity. King Philip War, which we read about, 1675, 1676, was a violent but fell attack on the New England colony. Now, remember, they were sending people from Virginia to New England as well. They're telling you that in this, they were sending the people, the men that basically was warring, was fighting, was hostile, that they were sending these men to New England or the Virgin Islands or West Indies. They say New England colonists, but allied area tribes that struck fear or hostile Indians into even Virginia colonists, okay? Hostile Indians into Virginia colonists who were not only increasingly suspicious of Indians, but also cognizant that Indian conflict increased their access to slaves for booming international markets. So it's saying that most of the hostile basically didn't even trust most of the fucking other Indian, because what happened is you had to get an Indian come up and try to be your friend, and then they will fucking probably cross your ass and then try to enslave you. But let's keep it moving. So it says, Lord, sometime contradicted one another and were only sometimes enforced, combined with local and government policies that vary from broking peace and encouraging warfare, help create instability. This in turn served as a backdrop to Bacon Rebellion, which began in 1670. William Byrd I, a former militia captain, operated a successful trade business at his fall plantation on the James River. He traded guns, rum, tools, cloth, and Indians. Okay, rum, rum. Where they get rum from? The West Indies. Okay, cloth and Indians. In 1670, warfare between the Potomac River Valley tribes and the English settler led to the raid of the Susquehannock Indians that killed several of Byrd's employees. Byrd did not receive the General Assembly, acted strongly enough in avenging his losses, and his descent combined with trading partner Nathaniel Bacon, long-standing disputes with the governors over when and how he could wage war against the Indians. It's a sparked the failed rebellion, but I'm sorry. But it's in a year later, colonists had routed both the Susquehannock Indians and the allies of the Akanichi. Okay. Let's say Byrd eventually reaffirmed his loyalty with the General Assembly and reestablished his trade in enslaving Indians and later later Africans. Okay, yeah, okay, you're right. It's still a questions of how to legislate Indian enslavement has not been settled. Colonists benefited from the hostilities with and among Indians and gaining captures and land. Gaining capture and land. So while the other Indians beef, they was basically trying to get the land and capture the people that was on the land. So you see what the plot of this shit is, man. It's impossible that they brought more Africans over than the people who was on these plantations, man. And that's, like I said, They wasn't just doing this in Virginia. They did this shit everywhere, man. They did it everywhere because this was word of mouth amongst other so-called colonists that came here. And they was practicing the same freaking thing throughout the Americas, throughout North America. This is what practically happened to us, okay? Now it says, and then when you get your Andrew Jackson, your Thomas Jefferson, this is how they had fucking slaves. Them slaves wasn't no damn Africans. Them slaves was damn Indians. It said they successfully pressed for government-sanctioned violence against Indians. The General Assembly subsequently passed the Act, 1682 Act, confirming that the legality of enslaving Indians for reasons unclear to scholars. Okay, the Assembly then passed a 1883 Act reversing this position and stating that no Indian could be a slave. While the Assembly inhabited the indecision about enslaved Indians vacillating between the benefit of peaceful coexistence and the profit of trades and enslaved laborers. Indians suffered extensively in the late 1600s from warfare and enslavement. Records cannot provide exact numbers, but scholars estimate that up to 50,000 Indians were sold into slavery from Southeast during this period. Many of them presumably ended up in the West Indies, Virginia. Now look, that's a lot. I got documents stating that it's 6 million. So, like I said, I got documents stating it's 6 fucking million. I don't even have to pull them up, but y'all done seen it. I got documents. He's talking about 50,000. Get the fuck out of here. I got documents stating that it's 6 million. 6 million. Okay, matter of fact, let's fuck it, because this is show and prove hour. Let's show and prove then. Watch this. Hold up. Now, here we go. Hold up. Now, this one say 5.5. I'm looking for the one with 6 million on it. You see, I got all these shits pulled up. See all this shit right here? This is all the work I have been putting in. Let me see something. Oh, fuck. We can go to this one. Fuck it. Let's go to this one. So now what you do is this, right? You look at, first of all, this is what you do, right? This is how I look at this shit, right? All right. Now, what I do is this, and this is, I got another article. This is only one of them. This is plenty more. All right. This is Brown University, Garfield. Okay, Brown University. Okay. So look, this is what you do. We look and see. Matter of fact, let's check this out real quick. We can do this. We can do this right from here. We can do this right from here. Let's take an estimate. Okay. So we go to estimates right here. When you go to slave voyage, go to 100 years. You go to flag embarkation regions. All right. Well, you could put you put embarking, and here cells. We want embark and disembark. All right. So press show. Check this shit out. Like I said, I do this shit so these niggas could sit here and let me see something. Hold up. No, hold up. This is not what I'm looking for. Because this is a lie and shit right here. They telling you where they got them from. So look. All right, mainlands. They saying they bought disembark. Disembark is how many people made it here. Remember, all right. So say Europe. They said 8,000 made it to Europe. North America. They saying 380,000 people made it here to North America. Okay, now look, they telling you 380 something thousand people made it here, right? British Caribbean, right? Look, listen to this. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Listen to this, y'all. Look, let's go here real quick. Colonists enslavement of Native Americans included those who surrendered to. All right, now look, it says Providence, Rhode Island, Brown University. All right, so this is a university, so we can't just take a nigga who fixed credit and take his fucking word over a university that's telling you the fucking truth. A study of Linford D. Fisher, associated professor. So we're gonna take a professor word over some fucking lame nigga named Garfield, or even a lame nigga named Jabari. Okay, Garfield fixed credit. He's not a scholar. He's an idiot. Okay, so it's a find that Native Americans, including non-combatant who surrendered during King Philip War to avoid enslavement. And now we know what the Pequots look like today. Do we got to pull them pictures up to see what the descendants of the Pequots look like? No, we don't. It's a enslavement word. And then think of it like this too, real quick. So when they telling you that they was bringing Africans to Massachusetts, they really was people from Virginia that was already Negroes, or people from the West Indies. Yo, they just got this whole shit confused to the point to where this is the reason why they don't want to give us reparations, because they got everything is fucking confused to the point to where they had to throw and say you came from Africa. But check this out. It say to avoid enslavement were enslaved at nearly the same. Native American slavery is a piece of history of the piece of the history of slavery that has been glossed over. So how do you gloss over between 1492 and 1880, between 2 to 5 million Native Americans was enslaved in America? Now look, it's saying an additional 12.5 million Africans. Now check this out. Where did they say they sent most of these people at? So now let's understand this, y'all. We get 12 to 5 million. I'm going to go with 5 million, because they're not going to say 2 to 5 million people and then keep it at such a low number, right? So let's say 7 million people. Fuck it. I'm going to say 7 million. I'm going to add another 1.5 million onto the 5.5 that they're giving us and say 7 million, even though that the numbers is higher than that probably, okay? So we don't know how many, but someone is being generous and giving us a number 5.5, all right? So 5.5 million people. Where was we told that most of these people were sent? To British Caribbean, right? So look, British Caribbean disembarked 2,318,252 people supposed to be even disembarked in British Caribbean. All right. Now, the French, you got the Dutch, you got the Danish, you got the Spanish, and you got Brazil. Now, keep in mind like this, all right? We already know that the Spanish did not fucking bring slaves over here, okay? We know that just from Columbus notes. We know that just from studying. We know that if anything, they was taking people back and forth from the Caribbean over there. So we don't know. Remember, Spanish America, okay? Where's Spanish America at? We assume Florida, we assume certain parts of Louisiana, and we assume the Caribbean. But the British took over the Caribbean from the Spanish. Okay, and the French Caribbean. Now, this right here is the island of Espanol, which is Haiti. Now, we already know that the Nash chat was enslaved, and the French took the Nash chat from the Americas to the Caribbean. This is my understanding of it. Dutch America, the Dutch at that point in time is the Portuguese. The Portuguese is really dealing with the Brazil. So you have to really understand how they just basically fucking us over with these two different the Dutch is the Brazilian Portuguese, all right? So this alone, British, we're gonna say Danish, because this shit right here this shit was from the beginning, and Spanish. So the people that they was already taking from the Americas are in between the British, the Danish, and the Spanish. So all of these three colonies right here. So you figure 2,318,252 plus 108,998 plus Spanish America, another 1.2 million. So we're going to say roughly between the British Caribbean and the Spanish America and the Dutch West. And so between these three right here, this is about 5 million people. If you really want to look at it, this is 5 million people. Plus the Northland. So now look, mainlands of North America, they telling you 388,000 people was brought to the mainlands of North America. Where the fuck did all the people they took from here go? Because they lying. Okay, they lying. So we don't know where these 388,000 people came from. These was probably the people who were sent to the West Indies and brought back. But in here, it tells you, 50,000 Indians were sold. But in here, they telling you that they sent 2 million to 5.5 million Native Americans was enslaved in America. So what do you want to believe? Okay, what do you want to believe? Because they already said that the history was glossed over. For all this time, they've been telling us that they've been also telling you from this whole time that they was only bringing Africans over here. But we caught these bastards, and we caught them on a large scale. We ain't catching them with no 50,000. They said 5.5 million. That's a very large number. That's almost that's almost 10 times more than the 50,000 that they gave you. But let me continue. But scholars estimate that up to 50,000 Indians were sold into slavery from the Southeast. During this period, many of them presumably ended up in the West Indies. Virginia became more suspicious of local Indians, and increased violence conflict has taken a serious toll on the Indian. The raiding Westos and the Occaneechi Indians helped instigate growing intertribal warfare, disseminating or enslaving Indian population all over the Southeast. As a result, Indian tribes began refusing to engage in the trade with the settlers, but there was also but there also were many fewer people left to enslave. Now that's all bullshit, because you know why? At that point in time, a lot of these people already done started accepting the European traditions and colony. You know what I'm saying? So the decline of enslaving Indian. It say by the 17th century, Africans were overwhelming the colonial market, providing more abundant labor with less internal conflict than the enslaved Indian. Indentured servants, which has been served as a primary labor source, were even less available and more expensive than slaves. It say the General Assembly still found a use for Indian enslavement. However, when it punished the Taiko Indians in 1705 for a single murder by exploiting the entire surviving Taiko community to Antigua for sales of slaves. It say this was the same year that the Assembly passed a comprehensive slave code. So remember the slave code, okay? Signifying that the shift of the colonial economy from one base on indentured servant to a slave labor system remaining until the American Civil War, 1861, 1865. It declared all slaves, African, Indian, real estate, and slave laborers be dehumanized under the law, ushering the Southern economic system that protected the rights of the white planters and viewed enslaved laborers as property to be exploited. All right. It say while Indian slaves and servants continue to appear throughout Virginia in the 18th century. By 1800, the Indian slavery as an economy was completely overtaken by the influx of African slaves, which that's bullshit. It say scholars disagree on the exact reason for the fall of the Indian slavery in the colony, with some suggesting that the Indian poor health and the ease of escape made them harder to control than imported Africans who had no little knowledge of the terrain or the language, while others point to the strict economic factors, citing that the cheap and abundant labor market available through the African slave market to seize. And like I said, man, a lot of this is bullshit, man. But I ain't even going in no further because here they threw us off with this whole African slave market or whatever though. But this is a good timeline right here. It said this is a timeline from March 16, 22 all the way until 1705. Okay. Now, like I said, they telling you that they brought Africans here in 1619, which we already know that they already telling you in so many words. Let me see something. Where was it at? Right here. I'm gonna read through this, not now, but probably I don't know, probably tomorrow I get a chance I'll read through this, man. And I think I got a video reading. I've done so many fucking videos on this shit. I forgot, but I touched on this plenty of times, but I don't think I read through this in depth. Hold up. I'm just looking for the 1619 story. I think I passed it. Hold up. I think I did. I do got a video where I went in depth with this one right here. But like I said, man, yo, they got us, man, in history, yo. They got us, man. Like I said, you believe what you believe, but we got evidence showing that it was motherfucking that y'all enslaved more so-called Aborigines than these Africans that was supposed to be mysteriously born here. And like I said, if they landed in the West Indies, I don't believe that they're Africans. I believe that these are fucking Aborigines that were sent out there that might have came back or had children with the people who was there or are the original. See, like you have to understand that was already blacks or already black Indians in the West Indies already. You have to understand that throughout from Cuba all the way to the last island in San Croix, or I mean all the way to the Caribbean, all of them tribes of people was black. Okay. Now I say in 1619, some 20 Negroes was brought to Virginia. 20 Negroes. At least 11 had names of Spanish or probably Spanish characters. Later, they were joined by Negroes and mulattoes with names such as Antonio, Several, and John Pedro. These Spanish-derived servants could well have been part of the American ancestry. However, no evidence is available except that they were largely secured from a captured Spanish vessel. Okay? From a captured Spanish vessel. Look, 1676, it say one Gowen, an Indian servant, acquired his freedom in Virginia. 2 decades earlier, McHill Gowen, called a Negro, also acquiring his freedom. It would appear that the Negro was probably father to an Indian in this case. All right, so like I said, it's a lot of confusion out here, but nonetheless, though, man, I mean, I'm glad we got through that article because this is definitely some powerful. And save this for your own research, man. Let me give you the. I'm actually gonna leave this up, y'all. I promise I'll put this in the description, y'all. All right. So let me see if AP still with me. AP.
I'm still here, A1. I'm on mute, just listening, man, taking notes, bro.
Nah, go ahead. You can go ahead, Bill. 'Cause I'm about to end it. But yeah, man. Yo, bro.
Nah, this was a heavyweight jam, man. I mean, this touched on a lot of shit. It might be overheads for some, but I mean, sheesh, it's a lot. I'm gonna have to watch this again afterwards. Just to make sure I touched on and got the right notes down, man. It was powerful, man. So,
Hmm.
yeah, man. You already know how it is.
Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to all the Aborigines. Everybody that's in the chat. Everybody, like I said, that's watching. Please hit that like button. Um, and like I said, man, hopefully we'll be able to get another bill. Probably tonight. I'll probably come in. We supposed to be hooking up with the brother George Macon and getting some more, building some more on this as well.
Right.
But like I said, man, you sit here and you look at the history, and you all you have to do is just start getting numbers, man, because they changing the numbers up on us as they go. You know what I'm saying? In some cases, they telling you 2 to 5. In other cases, that why would you bring 12? And they telling you 12 million when they telling you only 10.7 made it. Now out of that 10.7, I mean 10,700,000. How many of them was already Aborigines that was taken from North America? You understand what I'm saying? You have to start really looking at the history and start saying, well, hold up, man. If you telling me you took 6 million Aborigines from here, even though that they say 2 to 5.5. Why would he say 2 to 5.5? He knows something that we don't know. Okay, so and if he could say 5.5, then it has to be more. So if he's saying 5.5 so-called Indians was taken from North America to the West Indies and through various different settlements that they had out there, then what is we supposed to believe and what are we supposed to expect? You know what I'm saying? So you're telling me that you only brought here to North America 380,000 so-called Africans, okay? 380 something thousand Africans they bought here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Go ahead, AP. Go ahead and Bill. I'm about to get up out of here. But look, man, like I said, please, if you can, donate. The link is in the description. If you like to cop yourself an Aboriginal shirt or Aboriginal hoodie or sweatshirt, please go to the link. My t-shirt spring is in the description. As well as like I said, if you like to support Culture Freedom, Getting Coaches of America, which I already told you the timeline that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to wait until I get done with school. I went back to school or whatever, so I'm done with school next on December 12th. I'll be done with school. So that'll give me time to reach out to these the people who I already been in contact with and go out there and travel and be able to get these interviews done with them. All right. So like I said, man, please support your brother, man. You get an opportunity, donate, or if you get an opportunity, my email is in the description. I mean, my email is in the chat. Go to my email, send me a video, send me something, y'all. So, like I said, man, I'm about to get out of here. I'm gonna let brother AP end it. AP, go ahead. I have to make a phone call real quick. So
Yeah, man. You already know, man. You touched on everything that need to be touched on. Keep diving into the information, y'all. Take your time. Don't rush it. Make sure y'all read it thoroughly, understand it, and everything gonna come together. Just keep applying common sense with the information, and everything will get done the way it need to be done. So make sure y'all donate to the brothers. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell for your notifications. And for those that don't know who I am, this your boy Aboriginal Power. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Gang, gang. Uh, but yeah, man, that's how it is, man. We just gonna keep applying this pressure, man. That uh, that pseudo African information gonna have to be put at a halt, man. They can't keep running. They can't keep, acting like they got the answers and overnight debunking shit that can't even be debunked. Half of these guys don't even really deal with information. They barely deal with credit. So you know what I'm saying? They need to go work on their helping credit skills. You know what I'm saying? That's what they need to work on. So trying to rebuttal shit. These guys are silly, and that's a dagger for anybody you know that feel any type of way. So you know what it is, man. So y'all just make sure y'all like I said, hit that bell, man, for the brother and Thompson this one. Make sure y'all check out some of this spring t-shirts. I know y'all walking around. Probably ain't, wearing the same shit from last year. I don't know. But go cop y'all some new Aboriginal gear, man. He got it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't want to be walking around in no dashikis and shit, all thin, barely can stay insulated in the winter. You know what I'm saying? Go buy you a nice thick hoodie or something. You know what I'm saying? With the Aborigine on there. So make sure y'all go support the brother and Thompson this one. Straight up. Peace. Shit, I don't think A1 came back yet. My bad. But yeah, man, y'all already know this was a heavyweight jam. We got more information about to start cooking, so don't worry, man. We just taking it slow. You know what I'm saying? I know Sonetta and them, you know what I'm saying, was trying to, try to give them the benefit of the doubt and put our information out there. But hopefully, you know what I'm saying, these people realize that we got the truth. So, you know, they can't stay away from it. They're gonna have to have us on there at some point in time dropping that
Mhm.
information, whether it's live or not. Right. So that's just what it is. So make sure y'all definitely hit the brother up. He trying to get the documentary. I mean, damn. I mean, what more is it? Ain't nobody else doing this. Going and sitting down with these people, meeting with these people. WP Canyon, uh, uh, Jonah Bay. Who else? Who else we got?
Chief Warhorse.
Chief
Um,
Warhorse. I mean, come on now. Who's going to sit down with these legends and really building and putting together the information in documentary form for you to take home, watch it on your family reunions on a Sunday, whatever the case may be, man. It's for the family to indulge in. This is our history. So, let's just keep applying that pressure.
I got Yafa Bay. I got the Sycamore from the one that be with brother Two Hawk. I got another brother hit me up about a brother in Florida, in which I'm trying to get in contact with that brother right now. And I got like three other people, man. You know what I'm saying, that I definitely want to put into this, man. I like, it'd be funny if I can get James Small punk ass, but I don't really want to, because I don't want him to start throwing that African shit in, because I don't want that to be thrown in. Because like I said, it's pretty unclear whether or not it's African or whatever, because we know from the research that that shit is not what we being told. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, man, at the end of the day, man, do your research, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, you can donate. The link is in the description. Hit the like button on the way out. It was almost 200 people viewing this, man. Hit the like button. It ain't gonna cost you nothing to hit the like button. It also ain't gonna cost you to um pretty much drop, what I'm saying, drop a video and give what I'm saying? Like I said, it should be dope, man. Because the more people I can get that I'm just trying, like, the more we can show, man. Because listen, if it's almost 60 million so-called black or Negroes or African Americans in North America, right? Almost 60 to 80 million of us. I'm not going with the 45 million number. I'm going with it's almost 30. I'm going with out of 100% is almost 30% of us is fucking 30% of the population is fucking Negro. They just don't want you to think that. But listen, check it out. If let's say out of 60, let's say it's 70 million of us, right? Out of 70 million of us, if 55 million, let's say 15 million don't know that they Aborigine or don't know that they have any Aboriginal history, right? Let's say if 15 million of us, right, 55 million of us know that we Aborigine, that's more of us than on a fucking than the people that's on these reservations. Also, we got proof to show that they purposely kept us out. We got proof. And real quick, before you get up out of here, I just read through this real quick, man. I got all this shit pulled up. You already know how I do. Let me see something. Was it just this right here? Hold up. Well, no, this is actually the hit list, the racial hit list from Walter Plecker. I had this pulled up too, but I do something on another note. But this basically said, let me read. It say Virginia formerly. Now remember, we already specified that in Virginia alone, we know it was Negroes there. It's a Virginia formal lifetime register and Bureau of Vital Statistics. Dr. Walter Ashby Plecker believed that there was no real relative born Indian in Virginia, and anybody claiming to be Indian had a mix or black blood. Now, this bastard, look, this is a Virginia Indian right here. You see this? See this? See this? Look. Look what the Indians look like. They so fucking black you can't even fucking see them on the paper. Man, so like I said, we already know these niggas have been lying to us, but let me just read on and I'm out of here, all right? So it says, the aggressively policy, the color line, he classified pseudo-Indians as black and even issued the 1943 hit list of surnames belonging to mongrels and mixed blood families suspected of having Negro ancestry who must not be allowed to pass as Indian and white. Now look, they purposely saying if you got Negro in you, you cannot pass as an Indian, okay? Now, how do a fucking cracker determine that? How is he the primary person to do that, right? But now check this out. We already pretty much seen this right here. Let me go to the top just to show you what I'm reading from. Red, black, and white. All right, Racial Integrity Act of Laws of 1924. Now, I already showed you. I couldn't even find that other article, man. I think they took that shit down, yo. The other article where I was showing y'all that basically that they did this shit in all different states, man. They did it in all the states. All right, real quick, and I'm way out of here. Plecker intimidated midwives, wrote threatening pamphlets, editorialized in newspaper, and trained the entire generation of county clerks and health service workers in his method. When all else fell, he simply changed records to suit his prejudice, striking out a designation Indian and replacing it with Negro or color or mulatto, or writing notations on the back. But while Powhatan suffered under Plecker tyranny, they refuse to vanish, while necessarily they sacrifice both family ties and goodwill with African American community. Now we already know that African Americans are other tribes by refusing to attend Jim Crow school and segregated churches. All right, so we already know, man. Say that isolationist tactic cost them Indian community in Amherst were often poor and poorly educated, but they appeared to have worked. It is worth noting that the Amherst Indians, who successfully held themselves aloof from the black intimidation, regained tribal recognition in the 1980s. Another group also living in Amherst County, which proudly claimed African, Native, and Caucasian ancestry. But no, man, I already done went in on this shit in the other video, so you guys already know, man. We know this nigga right here ain't no real. Like I said, when you look at the people that's claiming to be Indians, these people don't fit the bill. Because even we go here, real quick, we go to Carolina. This is Verrazano words himself. The people are of a color rustic, not much unlike Saracens. You got to look up the word Saracens, and you're going to find out that Saracens ain't nothing but a word for black Arabs. or you see Morgan Freeman played the Saracen in Robin Hood. Okay? Color rustic. What color is rustic? Now we gotta dig deep for this shit, man. You understand what I'm saying? You have to dig deep for this shit. You have to look. This is the color rustic. What color are the people that look like this? Dude, what color is this? Rustic. No, I guess that's a derivative of rustic. But more, okay? So, like I said, man, at the end of the day, man, the gig is up. We know you motherfuckers can keep lying. And Tawny too. Tawny is another derivative of brown color. All of these are shades of brown, man. So I'm saying all of these are shades of brown. You understand? All of these are shades of brown. So, like I said, at the end of the day, man, these people been lying to us. These people don't want to tell us who the fuck we are because they indulged in a slave trade that broke up our families in from Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana, fucking the Great Lakes, Detroit, Chicago, all over. They did this shit all over to us. And they mixed up the tribes because they broke up the tribes through enslavement. See, they don't want to admit that they enslaved the tribes and broke the tribes up because they will owe us. They already owe us so much money. Okay. So, like I said, man, you like to donate, go to the link. The link is in the description. If you like to go ahead and cop yourself something, the link is also in the description. Support your boy. You know, the content is definitely fire, man. But with that being said, man, I'm out of here, man. AP.
Yeah, hey, peace.
I'm gonna hit you on the other side, my brother.
All right, that's what it do. Make sure. One.
Indeed. Peace to all the Aborigines. Peace, 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 peace.